So hey guys, what is going on? Yeah, just been a while actually since I made a YouTube video. I wanted to quickly post one out so I could actually just share some sort of progression in my journey and everything with you guys. Double check we're not muted and we're good. So yeah, essentially past few weeks have been pretty good. Essentially just passed my second funding assessment, which is pretty good. So have 60k allocated capital with FT UK, which I think I explained in the last video. And then I've got another one with an in-house fund on Falcon as well, which is incredible. Obviously, that's the one that I'm really more interested in personally because that's better for my personal growth, like-minded individuals, team, support, all of that stuff. I personally prefer that over any other fund, even if the payout is less. For me, it's more about the bigger vision, and I know that the money is going towards a better cause. So personal preference at the end of the day, but very happy with that and the progression. So yeah, pretty much for watch this week. It's a bit late in the week to kind of be looking at it, but there still could be some good trades in there. I did get this one, fortunately, which is pretty awesome. I could have squeezed in 10 and I contemplated that, but really and truly the risk that I wanted is covering me at 10. So that's pretty awesome, but because I'm trading low risk, I've protected myself just above with 17, which is awesome. So I've got that trade in there, which is running pretty decent. We'll be locking in a break even around about here, which is pretty decent, so it's 1%. Yeah, like it, it's having fun. Trading's pretty cool, pretty awesome. I actually catched a pretty bunch of good trades here. Actually, I want to show you on Euro USD. So this is a bit crazy, right? So let's have a little look at this. So if we zoom out to the daily, I'm not going to go into all my pairs this week because I think it's just a bit unnecessary, but who knows, these webinars sometimes go on a rampage. So yeah, we tapped into this good level of liquidity over here. We retraced up here. We wouldn't have really known that this was the level of retrace, especially with the DXY. It was just, there was still room for it to go up to here, which was where the main focus was put, but we understood that we could go from these areas. So when we did get that, we kind of understood, okay, let's see what happens. And then we had that little shift in the market. I'll just go to the 4, and then you can see that there was a consolidation there. I personally couldn't find a proper trade in there for me, and I wouldn't have taken anything. There was just nothing that met my criteria to the T, and it was just a little bit risky, so left it out. And then we formulated this large correction where I became naturally more neutral with this, just because of the size. It could have just turned into so many things, right? It could have done this, could have just done that, and then next thing you know, we have that sort of 3 drives into that level. So I guess it was just that variations of forecast, but once we had that commitment, that was something that I knew at that point there, that if we're going to go, there's going to be some nice trades coming. It just required a lot of patience, and I think where most of the patience came in was during this period. There was this level here, and I know some people did catch it. I didn't catch this one personally. There was this section over here where you could have taken a trade, maybe a small loss, possibly stayed in, who knows, but there was a little trade there where you could have drove that into probably around about here, or I would have been more aggressive being out here. But anyway, regardless, there was a trade there, and then nothing really shaped up until we came back to this area, and then there would have been another trade over here, which unfortunately wouldn't have committed, but we would have understood by that corrective price, and then we would have seen something like, what's going on here? Are we seeing something like that? And then really and truly we did see this. So that was pretty cool. And then what I did like about this was the fact when you do zoom out, and I think this is what really helps, is then you look at it like that, or even on the 4. Sometimes the 4 is sometimes a little bit more clear than the 1, and usually that's why we go top down. So we had these sort of multiple touches. I would say this was one significant touch. You could, if you really wanted to, cut through it, but I don't like doing that. But you could say, look, equal space in there. arcing nature, taps into that, and then we have this sort of messier sort of correction, nice little arc down here as well, two bottoms, essentially two tops, but call it one section, and then we came in over here, and it was a far stretch, but I understood that if that is the override, and that's what I was essentially looking at, and I'll go to the one quickly. This was the override for me, where I was looking at that, and then I understood if we got a retrace here, this could then be the expansion to go to the downside, and I'll look for continuation. Very straight and simple. This one over here was basically the override play. So kind of like this, we had that, we had the scoop, we tapped into it, correctively moved away, came in for the M star, which is essentially when we have a corrective move away and then we just come back straight to it, created an arc. Sometimes it can be a V shape, but created an arc, and then essentially within that was able to go to refine it after we had that 1 hour retrace. Once again, I'll just quickly zoom out, you see it. So the nice thing about it is we had this override over here, and you can see how we closed below, closed above, opened below, above, closed below, retracing completely back into it, which I liked, giving me that opportunity to then go to the 15, where I was then able to then evaluate it a little bit closer. Now this is where I kind of took the 1 hour retrace here as well. I took it on multiple accounts, took different entries because I wanted to spread my risk across it. Didn't want to over risk as well, but anyway, so had this over here, and then that ran for 5.6. Great, nice trade there. And then we also had the one once we pushed away, which I'll go back to the 1 hour. And we can see over here on the 1 hour, as we pushed away and we cleared this low, which is super important. This low over here, we cleared all of that. You can then see that this was your next target zone, and technically we are trading through it, which I did like as well. So the really plain and simple bit is we're below it, we're kind of technically retesting it, which is also an added bonus, and then we're trading through this. So the next profit target would be down here, right, to break these and then maybe see this expansion and then even create continuation to go lower. However, given the size of this push at this point here, I knew if this was to go, I'm going to be super aggressive with my management and I would want to be out for about 5% collective, but I would be aggressive with the management. I wouldn't manually close up. Well, I did set a take profit actually literally right here, and we just missed it for the 5%, but I understood. I said 4 is pretty good as well. I'm not going to mess about. If it goes to 3, fine, but I'm not going to walk away with that, so I'm just going to take 4 collectively. Wanted to secure that on my capital, so I actually was able to get more of an aggressive exit as well, which I'll just show you. So I was a little bit more aggressive, and over here walked away with 4.7. it was just about there, and I would say that was quite lucky, to be honest, to get that trade on one account, and then on the other account I got 3%, which 4%, which was just about here. I was just demonstrating that 3.98, and yeah, so that was the second account, which was basically, I've got an account going on where I'm trading some capital 100k account, but 4 other people in my group are also trading a 100k account. So as a collective, we add up our risk and we add up our profit, and we basically trade it that way. I think it's an extremely good thing to find a group like that as well. And if you don't know where to find one, you can drop me a DM and I can point you in the right direction. Obviously, you're gonna have to put in about a year's amount of work and so forth, but if you know, it will be super worth it, and you'd have a team, and you know, you'd be having a lot more fun. And I'm finding a lot more fun out of trading by doing something like that. So thought I'd just share that with you quickly. And then as price corrected back up, gangster trade here. I didn't even see it, right? Believe it was somewhere in here, to be fair. I think it was this one right here, and I saw this as well later, and I was like, wow. And it's something that's happened to me quite a lot before, which I'm learning from, is sometimes I get blinded by the short, that when we do start to pivot, I don't see the buy, right? And it's something that I've acknowledged quite a bit recently, and now I'm kind of adjusting to it. But having that pivot, right, you understand that, okay, cool, we played the expanding, we rejected from it. Why did I not look for the buy? I was so happy that I made a profit. that I just neglected it and I looked at something else. I mean, something else was shaping up and it was also very nice, but in all reality, if you look at it this way, right, and you don't see it for the expanding, you see that we pushed below, we pushed back up, go to the 1 hour. Even the 4 actually probably looks really nice. Yeah, so we pushed down, we retraced 50%, right? And this is something you should take a note of. 50% of this was retraced. We closed above. Pretty heavy body as well. I'll invert that so it's a little bit more clear. And you just look at it here, retraced 50% there, and then you look for continuation. And then if I go back to the 1, or I'll invert that back again, go back to the 1, you can then see that, okay, price had that little wick. Don't let that put you off, but then go to the 15, because if you're looking for the first 15-minute flag, we haven't had a clear flag yet, and then boom, it was right there, literally right in plain sight, and I would have 100% taken that. And how I would have taken it, really, I probably wouldn't have been so gangster to take this one. I would have understood it, but no, yeah, 100% I would have done that. I would have just taken that there and then been like, it is what it is, and then taking the trade on that candle right there. And yeah, that one I think I would have personally, that's around about 5%. So if that ran to, yeah, I would have been out for free. I would have been out for free management wise, 100%, because as soon as that hit 5%, I would have moved to 3 aggressively, and then just, yeah, it is what it is, and then it would have just shot up, and I would have just accepted the fact that it happened like that. But that's just my sort of management on that. And then, yeah, so once we tapped into the top of this and we confirmed that, that's when I was like, shit, okay, this is game. Yeah, we've got, go back to the 4 hour quickly. We can then see larger structure. We're now in this sort of, you know, if we just take that wick out for a second, it's very similar to this structure, which I like. You know, we're coming into this area, but it's more clean. Even though to a lot of people that did not look clean, that looks super clean to me. We had the 4 hour retrace, 10 out of 10. That was added confidence. We had the 1 hour retrace there, and then if you zoom in again, you got the 15. Now this is where the advanced level of shit came through, right? I saw this and I was like, all right, sick, we're correctively moving. I'm gonna wait, and then boom, trade came in over here. Waited for that 5-minute close, took the trade, and then we just shot off and went. Okay, 3%. Don't get me wrong, like, could have been better, right? But on a different day, that could have flown for 10, 15, 20%. I've seen it before on UJ last year, and I've seen it before on EU as well, and possibly a few other pairs. I think Euro Yen and so forth. But like I said, that was an amazing trade for me. So I was really proud about that and really happy, and no surprise that we are getting that commitment to the downside now. Am I bothered? Not really, because you know there's an abundance of trades. So I've got this trade going on right now. Gonna go have a quick look at it, and yeah, it's still in there. I'll probably move that to break even now, so just give me a second. Is it a bit premature to move to break even? Yeah, you could say, but I do want to protect my account, so I'll happily move that to break even, and let's see if that plays through. And I think at the end of the day, like, even if that did come back up and then didn't go to where my stop loss was, because my stop loss is, why do I always delete it? I don't hide it. So just took it basically on that 17. So my stop loss there. So I'm still pretty well protected, to be honest, in this area. I mean, I could actually squeeze in a bit more if I wanted to, but I think 17 was more than enough. Yeah, even though it's not even run a 4%, I've locked in. We ran about 0.8. Yeah, I'm happy with that anyway. Happy to be aggressive in these sort of conditions. The only reason I would say that I'm being super aggressive is because you have you're in the middle essentially. Number one, you're trading this range that has created 2 tops here. We are kind of in this sort of upwards correct momentum. There's nowhere to say that this is going to sell off, and if it does sell off, it doesn't have to sell off quite far. It could sell off a little bit and pull back. So for those reasons, I don't want to be too lenient, but I don't want to be too aggressive. So I kind of want to play it cool, but I want to be protecting the account from any losses. So sometimes it works against you, sometimes it works for you. It's really situational, but you know, for me, I think I much rather prepare for the worst case scenario in a situation where I know I don't have everything that I need. And even when you do have everything, it doesn't always play out, so you have to understand that as well. So this clear area over here, we haven't really tapped into it. Don't have to, but that was like the kind of point of where we just kind of dropped off. And I do think there's, you know, we will gravitate to this area at some point and then take that out and then see what happens from there. But I think more than likely with all these wicks and stuff above here, if we start making it here, we've probably got something clear happening. And this just looks like correction, middle section. This looks like, okay, we're getting a bit messy. Does it kind of come back in? That wouldn't be your typical sequence, right? So if that happens and then we come back into here, then it looks like this, where this just becomes one piece of the puzzle, comes back into here, maybe taps into this bit, and then goes up, and then we can kind of just see what happens from there, right? And that's kind of it. So then, you know, this becomes your value area. That just becomes areas of, you know, interest really. This becomes your next key value area, becomes the bigger range, which makes more sense, a little bit more clarity there. And then you want to really be trading from this area and basically from that area. But, you know, it could come down to there as well. There's so many little pieces of the puzzle there. But like I said, this is just something I'm just playing with at the moment. It's not really the best of trades, not the highest of quality trades, but really and truly, it's a really good trade to learn from as well. I think, you know, if this does commit up, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice, and I'll still shadow trade manage it, regardless if I just get tagged out. It moves up here and then drops off. I think as well that's something that I do in the background that definitely helps as well. Is even though sometimes you don't get into the trade, it's good to know how you would have managed the trade had you stayed in it, because you can still learn an abundance amount of things about yourself, which is more important, of how you manage the trade and what you do in those situations. Where does your focus go? How do you manage your sub focus? You know, one of the added confluences I'm seeing, Euro New Zealand, you know, retest the back of this, we sell off. I'm seeing the same with GBP New Zealand. Didn't quite tap into that area there, but what I'm interested to see is, do we sell off and tap into this area, maybe drop off, push back, insurance entry, which as well adds a confluence here for the sell. So that's why I said, like, we may not get a full-on sell, but this could probably drop off from here to here, while GN correctively moves to the downside, just does whatever it has to do. Euro New Zealand drops off with Aussie New Zealand because they're kind of like bros and sisters, right? And then you got a left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then drops, and that's it. So essentially wanted to kind of share that with you guys. Hope you guys found some value in this video, and yeah, if you got any questions or anything, you know, drop a message. If you first time watching, you know, definitely hit that subscribe button, because, you know, a lot of valuable content here. But no, more importantly, definitely watch some of the videos from 2023, probably from half the year forward, for some June, July forward. Definitely a lot of value there. I think now, this point in my current path in the journey is where I'm kind of performing my best, which is amazing, because you know, this was the advice I was given to when we entered the year, because I passed another assessment in December for 60k, and then that one essentially was kind of where I was given advice like, listen, this is going to be a big year. There's a lot of momentum coming into the markets, and I knew about myself, like, I strive in these environments when there's a lot more momentum. So yeah, pretty good. So yeah, guys, enjoy, have a good weekend, have a good week ahead. We just got Friday, but you know, I think end of the month, definitely be super sharp for February. And if you are doing monk mode month, I'll be joining you on that. And yeah, have a good one. Take care. Bye bye.